Hello everyone. In this chapter, we continue our exploration of the core question: what truly translates teachings into tangible results? Is it the teacher's expertise, the material's quality, the student's dedication, genetics, environment, or perhaps something else? Before we proceed, please watch videos number 17 and 18 to fully grasp the context of this chapter. Remember, all of our chapters are sequentially numbered and listed on YouTube as a playlist. In video number 18, we introduced the concept of teachability index and explored the crucial first element, the willingness to learn. Now, we delve into an even more vital aspect, the willingness to change. On a scale of 1 to 10, how high is your willingness to change? To fulfill your desires, you must be willing to learn and, more importantly, be willing to change. Why? Because transforming from poverty to wealth begins with first learning to emanate the vibration of wealth. That's where the willingness to learn comes in. But the real magic happens when you change your thoughts to mimic how the wealthy think, which in turn rewires your neural pathways, which in turn alters your habits, which ultimately transforms you into someone who naturally emanates the vibration of wealth. You literally become a different person through this process. The entire universe thrives on the principle of change, which leads to expansion. This is why the willingness to change is not just essential. It aligns you with the fundamental workings of the universe. That is why the willingness to change is important. People who achieve their desires share one vital trait, the willingness to do whatever it takes to achieve those desires. They are ready to change their habits, defy the norm, and push through discomfort. Remember this, pushing through discomfort is sometimes necessary until you have learned to correctly interpret your guidance system and your default vibration is at a point where you can keep the discomfort to a minimum. A common misconception among newcomers of the law of attraction is the idea of only doing things that feel good. The truth is, learning new information, skills, habits, and change often feels uncomfortable at first. Is the process of building muscles always comfortable? Of course not. You'll be sore for a while before you can enjoy the benefits of strong muscles. It's normal to feel some discomfort on your journey until your default vibration evolves to a level where you can effortlessly keep discomfort at bay. We'll delve into the concept of the default vibration another time, but for now, let me share a fun story to illustrate how it works. Experiencing everyday life with Source is so fun because Soni stays in Source mood virtually all the time. One long weekend morning, we got a frantic call from a difficult tenant about a burst pipe with water gushing out of the ground. So we headed out to investigate without a plan, knowing from experience that finding a plumber on a long weekend is nearly impossible. We found that it was not just any pipe, it was the main water line that had punctured, creating a fountain in the yard, and I realized that the tenant would probably be without water the entire long weekend before we can find someone to repair it. Despite the tenant's initial fury, Abie's soothing presence and compassionate approach calmed them down. After the tenant went in the house, Abie and I stood there staring at the fountain, and I started joking. "Abie, what are we gonna do about this old faithful in the yard? Maybe we should just label it the Yellowstone of Orlando and provide an experience for the whole neighborhood." Just as the laughter subsided, a man pulled up in a truck across the yard waving a business card and yelled, "Your neighbor Martha told me you are a landlord. I wanted to give you my business card if you ever need a plumber." "Did you say you're a plumber?" I yelled back as I looked at Abie with the biggest smirk on my face. He wasn't just any plumber. He was a really good commercial plumber with so much experience, and he fixed the problem in less than an hour. To summarize, we arrived without a plan, but we were able to maintain our default vibration even while the tenant gave us grief. We empathized with their situation but still kept any discomfort at bay because our default vibration has reached a certain point where it becomes easy to do that. That is why the plumber appeared and the situation resolved itself easily. That's possible when the universe is your wingman, aligning situations, circumstances, and people for your benefit. Everyone can reach that state of being, and until you reach that state, it is okay to feel some discomfort along the way. Let's continue our discussion. Remember, I mentioned that when you delve deeper, who do you listen to ultimately translates into who do you associate with and how do you make important life decisions? Similarly, your willingness to change ultimately translates into how high is your willingness to think, act, and operate differently? Do you dare to make different choices? Do you have the courage to go against the norm? Are you prepared to push through discomfort to achieve your desires? And most crucially, how high is your willingness to delay gratification? We live in a society addicted to instant gratification, but true achievers understand the power of delayed gratification. Read the biographies and autobiographies of the achievers on our planet, and you will discover that every story is one of delayed gratification. Let me give you an example from our lives. By the time Soni and I decided to get married, our relationship had been tested thoroughly. We faced every challenge head on, and love always prevailed. I lived in an apartment at that time and dreamed of having a house to start our married life. The real estate prices were skyrocketing at the time, and waiting until after the marriage to purchase a house was not advised. There was pressure to buy quickly, and I had my sights set on a beautiful place listed for a significant price tag. We had the funds to buy it, but it would leave me with nothing for an engagement ring for Soni. Typically, a romantic proposal with a glorious engagement ring is a fairy tale moment. It is expected and it is the norm. Around this time, a co-worker got engaged with a ring so exquisite that it was the talk of the town. She glided through the office radiating joy and pride, as if the ring had given her wings. Seeing her joy, I wanted Soni to experience the same. But I could either buy the ring or the house, but not both. My gut told me to just ask Soni and let her make a decision. Without hesitation, Soni said, "Let's buy a house instead." So we did, and I still managed to surprise her with a modest ring for the engagement. She was pleasantly surprised because she did not expect one. Typically, everyone wants to see the ring after an engagement. Soni's ring was not enough to wow anyone. I could feel the judgment as people assessed the ring and questioned my devotion to Soni. Yet, Soni wore that ring proudly every day. I wanted to buy her a better ring, but we had to prioritize paying for our wedding and then launching and funding our business and then recovering financially from investment losses and other setbacks. It took time for us to stabilize our finances. When we could finally afford a new ring, I wanted Soni to choose a new one. Once again, Soni looked at me and said, "Let's buy another house instead." So we did. Sometime after that, when the diamond fell off the ring, it was clear that it was time for a new ring. Once again, Soni said, "Let's buy another house." And we did. Dear friends, it is because of those choices we now have a real estate portfolio that contributes to our financial freedom. That is the power of delayed gratification. That is the power of thinking differently. Soni wore the modest ring proudly, cherishing it as a symbol of our love and journey together despite the judgment of others. Having the courage to make choices that are good for you is paramount. Delayed gratification is common among achievers. In our WhatsApp group, there is a wonderful couple who purchased a business that faced financial challenges in its early stages, which is common. One of them took on a job to make the ends meet, while her partner kept the business afloat by himself. Her job required an arduous daily commute and working outdoors in scorching temperatures of over 110 degrees, but she did it. I remember him traveling across the country and sleeping in his car every night to procure an asset for their business. It wasn't easy, but he did it. This couple understands the law of attraction, and they didn't fall for the misconception of only doing what feels good and expecting things to fall in their laps. They powerfully took charge and pushed through the discomfort when it was necessary. Together, they did whatever it took for their business to survive and succeed, and it has. Soni and I feel tremendous joy and appreciation for them, seeing parallels with our own journey that had its own ups and downs. These are the stories of the people that achieved their dreams. I was recently in Dallas with this couple, and we were learning valuable skills from an entrepreneur whose company generated over $160 million in revenue last year. This entrepreneur revealed that his top-tier mastermind group costs $250,000 a year. While that amount may surprise many, this is considered a modest fee. The elite masterminds cost 8 figures. Who are the people that pay these amounts? The people that pay these amounts are the ones that understand the value of being open, receptive, and teachable. They have a high willingness to learn and a high willingness to change. That is what gave them the wealth to be able to afford tens of millions of dollars for a mastermind. This is why we are so happy to see teachable people taking advantage of the mastermind we have provided with Source at no cost, as it was explained in video number 9. I have mentored people for a long time, and I know with certainty that the ones that are teachable will always outperform the ones that are not. Find any group of people anywhere in the world, and the ones that are the most teachable will always outperform the ones that are not. One way to identify someone's teachability is this. If the teacher is putting in more effort than the student isn't teachable. This is the key reason why not everyone achieves their dreams, and this is why there is never a crowd at the top. It's the teachability and openness of the student that determines their success. Remember this wonderful phrase, if it is to be, it is up to me. Once you have found a good teacher and good information using the Who Do You Listen To checklist, it is always up to the student to make it happen. I will say it again. If it is to be, it is up to you. This is why we are emphasizing the importance of the Teachability Index so much. Teachability Index, by the way, is calculated by multiplying one's willingness to learn by their willingness to change. For example, if someone has a high willingness to learn rated at 10, but a low willingness to change rated at 2, then 10 times 2 equals 20, resulting in a low teachability index of 20. That is not good for manifesting results. One must have a high willingness to learn and a high willingness to change. I would recommend a teachability index of at least 64 or higher because it is a requirement to manifest results. This is what translates teachings into tangible results. For anyone looking to achieve their dreams, here's the good news. Just mastering Who Do You Listen To and developing a high teachability index always puts you way ahead of the crowd. So how do you increase your teachability index? Get excited because that is the topic of the next chapter where we take a deeper look into increasing your teachability index. May the Source be with you and have a fantastic day.
Thank you, Matt, for sharing this information. Sharing is caring. Share this video with 7 people and septuple your luck today.
This publication is protected by U.S. and international copyright laws with all rights reserved. It is free to share and only personal, non-commercial use in its original form without any edits is allowed. For commercial use permit, visit sonymattandsource.com. No part of this publication may be reproduced by any mechanical, photographic, or electronic process, or in the form of a phonographic recording, nor may it be stored in a retrieval system, transmitted, or otherwise be copied for public or private use, other than for fair use as brief quotations embodied in articles and reviews without prior written permission of the publisher. The creators of this publication do not dispense medical advice or prescribe the use of any technique as a form of treatment for physical or medical problems without the advice of a physician, either directly or indirectly. Any information in this publication is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Consult your physician before beginning any diet, nutrition, or fitness plan or lifestyle changes. The intent of the creators is only to offer information of a general nature to help you in your quest for emotional and spiritual well-being. In the event you use any of the information in this publication for yourself, the creators and the publisher assume no responsibility for your actions, and you agree to release the creators and the publisher and anyone and everyone from any and all liabilities.